Hello everybody, I've got jaykay18's GE alarm clock radio on loan. I'm doing some stuff to it, and I was always taught to return something in better condition than I received it, so that's the goal of this. Take a look at it. By now you've already seen his videos on it. Once again, it's a 7-4305C, and I believe I've deciphered the date code of the second day of the week, 1980, 51st week. So it's got some scratches here and there. I believe we got some liant hair right there. Somewhere in there. There it is. So we're going to get started. I'm going to take the screws out of it. Appears to have two 3/16 nuts and then a series of Phillips screws on the bottom. I've already started taking them out just to see how easy they were to get out. They're not the easiest in the world I've ever worked on, but we'll get going on it. I've got all the screws and everything out and got the top opened up. Looks pretty basic. So I'll see what I can get into. So there's a motor here that apparently drives the clock movement, and there's the gear right down in there. Might be hard to see. There they are, and something's wrong with that. Well, we are in deep now. I wanted to unsolder the wires from the switch and not this little micro switch. That could be pretty easy to melt that, and then all that wouldn't work. I thought about maybe doing a little recap, but I can't get this off, and I'm not going to try too hard because this plastic is brittle. I tried to start prying it off from the shaft there, but it just wasn't having it, so I'm going to just leave well enough alone there. Seems to function just fine. We've got a whole parts circuit board just in case that fails someday. That can be swapped out pretty easily. But the main thing is getting a good access point to get these wires unsoldered. So I got to take a bunch of reference photos so I know how everything goes back together, and we'll just keep plugging away. At this point, I am beginning to desolder wires very carefully. It's the next one. Does a fine job of taking those wires off. And I did take reference pictures before beginning this. And just like that, the old clock movement is out. I believe the actual clock movement's probably still good. It's just in this gear train where the problem is, but motor could be bad. I might just hook it up directly and see what happens. Well, I've got it just directly wired up and power applied, and I don't think anybody's home on this motor anymore. I now have the parts rig, which this mechanism looks to be in excellent condition. The numbers look brighter on it and everything. And get the light in there just right. You can see the little gear spinning on this one, so this one's actually functional. Let's see if we can catch it spin. There it goes. Showing 753. But yeah, this is pretty good. I'm going to stop here because it's getting late and I don't want to mess something up. So it's the beauty of having this workshop out here. I can just leave everything as is and go about my day. It's the next afternoon after work. I'm a little bit more rested up than I was last night. My next step is I am going to put a little bit of lithium grease behind these drive gears. There should be one to the right of this motor, and then this one that you can see right there. I've never done this before, but I'm not scared. I'm just going to make a note of where each screw goes. Just lay them out how I'm taking them out. Kind of hold everything together as the screws start coming out. Yep, I might be able to just show that the bottom two a little bit shorter than the top two. And there's a spring in here I gotta watch for. This is the one I need to clean up, or grease, I mean. This little guy here. There goes that spring. I did pay attention to how it went together, so I can get it back together. Wouldn't hurt to give that just a little tiny bit of grease. Especially that post a little bit. Like that, where that turns nice and smooth. That should be awesome. And it should be in this orientation here as we go back together with it. Just like that. Now that's back together. Everything is smooth. You can see how that mechanism is working. Each minute it flips that clock over to the next digit. So now I can get this back together. Without a major ordeal, we'll be in pretty good shape. I think I'm going to assemble it where everything is in the out position. I can show from this side what happens. So I'll assemble it at that point. So hopefully it'll go back together a little better. I don't know. Never done this before, so it's a learning experience for me. Best I can tell, it is together. Just tighten these screws up a little bit. Ended up having to use my custom sprinkler system screwdriver that I adjust the nozzles with. Works pretty well. That slot fits in there just right. I don't think we're looking for 9,000 foot-pounds of torque here. Felt about right on that snugness. Cool. I think that should be ready to sit down in there. And it sounds like it snapped right into place. Guess I could give it a quick test before I put it back together. Alright, I've got it very safely hooked up, as you can see. I'm going to zoom in on it. And I'm going to flip the switch. I'll shut the lights. Maybe we can get the neon showing up. Here we go. Neon's on. I can see the gears turning. We'll see if it will switch over to the next minute. And I didn't completely screw it up, so how about that? So now we can prepare to put this back into the clock housing and go from there.